Welcome back, everyone. During the create transaction logic, we have reached to the place where we need to update the wallet balance. We have implemented the side operations, but before we build all of them together, we just need to have a utility to update the wallet balance. In the code, if we open the Cosmos transaction repository, the Cosmos wallets repository, we already have the ability, if we check the methods here, we already have update async that updates the full wallet. But with every transaction we add, this transaction will affect the overall wallet balance. It will either increase it or decrease it based if the transaction is income or outcome or expense. So using this update wallet is not very efficient, especially in Azure Cosmos DB, because you always have to keep in mind that you need to be as optimized as possible. So in this case, we save cost and we keep our application very highly performant. That's why we are using Azure Cosmos DB, right? So the replace item async method we have used actually replaces the full wallet document with the new property that we have set. We either add or delete some properties and stuff like that. Luckily, Cosmos DB provides a utility, or let's say a feature, that's called patch operations or partial update, that allows us to update like a single property, or we can add a single property or remove a single property from a document. This makes the update operations much better than this, especially in such cases where we know what we are doing exactly. Like after every transaction, we need to upgrade the wallet balance, and specifically it's the balance. So for that case, we can take advantage of that, and we are going to use the overall update or the replace item, and you are going to use the replace like a single property, or and see the performance upgrade in this case. So to implement patch operations, it's very easy in Azure Cosmos DB with the .NET SDK. Let's open the interface of this repo, and I'm going to create a new method, and I will call it update wallet balance async. Then we pass the wallet, and we pass we can just pass the wallet ID, the user ID, and we pass the amount. So here we have multiple options. Either we pass like the full new amount, which is decimal, or we just pass the different, like the amount of the transaction. So in this case, if the transaction is 10 and it's income, and the wallet has a balance of 1000, then the wallet balance will be, I will remove the word wallet, will be 1010. So let's see which option should we choose. But let me first create the method update balance async, and here we pass wallet, string user ID, double amount. Okay, great. So I'll just remove this code for this moment. Okay, so it does some operations for us. Here we don't care if it's negative or positive or whatever, but if it's 0, then nothing changes. So let's just ignore this process, so we save something on the database. Right? We don't do a user transaction. That's not going to do anything. So right now, what we want to do is create what's called the patch operations array. But first, let's get the container like that. And right now, we create var patch operations, and then it's a new array. And this array contains, we use a patch operation class. And this patch operation class had the interesting stuff that we are looking for. So it had a method called the property. So we provide a path for a property inside the document, and it will remove it. Or increment, which is the one that we are interested in. Like we have a numerical property inside the document, and we set the path of that property and then the value. So it basically incremented. Or we can decrease by providing a negative value. Replace, which is takes a value and put a new one in case that one is existing. Add, obviously, it just adds a new property for the document. And we have set. What set does basically, it's just like create or replace. So if it's there, it will replace it, but if it's not there, it will create it. But replace will only update it if it's there. So we are going to use dot increment and then slash balance and then the new amount. So this is very, very powerful because only one property, only what we are interested in. We don't care about the rest of the document. Luckily, the wallet document is not huge, so the difference will not be too big if you are using this one or the update. But usually, if like we have more properties and we have like this document contains, it's a little bit bigger, then the performance upgrade will be very, very obvious, also from a cost perspective. So the last thing we need to do is just execute this patch. Of course, you can have more operations like add, increment, and do multiple stuff, but what we are interested in is only this property. So right now we need to container.patch item async. It's a wallet like that, and then we pass wallet ID, then we pass new partition key. The partition key is required here, sorry. User ID, and then at the end we pass the patch operations. So that's it. This one will only set the operations to update the balance. So this is actually, as I've said, very, very efficient. And right now, when you are going to test the transactions after create the insert transaction, we will be using this one to update the balance, and then we will try to also use the update async, and then we will compare, like we will do some benchmarking to see how fast it is by checking the result that comes in, and to check the diagnostics property that tells us how many request units that this operation costs us comparing to this one, and you will see like a huge difference. So this is everything for this video. I hope like this video gave you what you need to basically achieve this kind of tasks while you are developing, because this is a very common operation when you have like a table or when you have a container or an item and you are just interested into doing a set of operations specifically for a set of properties in every time you want to you execute something. Like in our case, add a transaction, we will always update balance and only balance. So let's not use the overall update and only update what we are interested in. So I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to hit the like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one.